Hey guys, Sarge here. What we're going to be talking about today is the fact that 1911s suck. Okay? And I know that's kind of a hot topic for some people. I personally enjoy watching the argument back and forth why some people believe that they suck, some people believe that they don't. As you guys can tell, I have a 1911. If you guys have ever been to one of my courses, you know I use my 1911 quite a bit. I had kind of went away from a 1911 once I got my Kick and Steel Custom Arms Glock 45 MOS. I have that out at courses just so students can see the custom package job that they'll do for them. So I have it out there, but I am going back to use my 1911 as my instructor gun. Now, for me to use a pistol as an instructor pistol, there are certain criteria that I hold it to. That criteria, one, I have to be able to bet my life on it. So I don't use an instructor gun like a lot of other instructors do, where it is their range gun. It is their gun that they shoot the best, but they don't carry it. I don't understand that. Normally they don't carry it because it is a little bit bigger of a gun, and they want to carry a pocket 380 or something like that because they're not really into this lifestyle. That is not the case for me. I carried this pistol, this specific 1911, every single day for 12 and a half months, so for a year. And I had no issues with carrying it, guys. We're going to go over some of the things, and I'll go into detail with how I carried it, things of that nature. But just so you guys know, okay, the got it title of the video, cool. But I use this gun all the time. I carried it for a year. I would not carry something that I wouldn't bet my life on at all. I wouldn't carry something that is unreliable at all. I am not too fond of those guys that review pistols and they have them for 2 weeks and then they give you their opinion of, hey, you should or should not have this as a carry pistol after only 2 weeks of use. It took a year of me shooting this pistol, taking it to courses, carrying it to feel comfortable with it. And maybe it wouldn't take that long for me to, the comfortability level with all pistols. But for me, it took me a year to really feel like this thing, I own it, have it 100%. I know how to run it without a single issue. I understand everything about the gun. And we'll get into that, guys. So a lot of people will say 1911 suck. The first thing I normally hear out of the 1911 crowd is, well, it won 2 world wars. Okay. Out of humor, I would beg to, disagree with that, and I would say it was present for 2 world wars. Okay, I'm fully tracking. There are some heroic tales of individuals that, took out some enemies with 1911. Awesome, cool. That wasn't everybody. So saying that, the 1911 won 2 world wars is like saying the water boy won, or the backup kicker won the Super Bowl for the Patriots, right? That's neither here nor there. It's just kind of my thoughts, guys. So the second thing I hear from individuals that talk about 1911 suck is the reliability side. If I am taking a class and I see a individual having malfunction after malfunction after malfunction, and let's say I am not intelligent when it comes to 1911s, and I see that he's running a 1911, my intelligent comment is, man, your 1911 sucks. You need to get something else. You need to get something else that doesn't suck. That would be my intelligent comment, or my non-intelligent comment, rather. Okay, because hey, I'm not really identifying the issue. I'm not telling you why it sucks or what's going on or how you could probably fix it. I'm just saying this is the easiest way for me to do my job, is just to tell you to get rid of it and go to something else. Okay, well, that doesn't help you for this class. That doesn't help you for, maybe that's the gun that you like and that's the one you're the most comfortable with and you want to get it to work, right? For me, hearing that 1911s are not reliable, I've always scratched my head at that, because this pistol has been around for, over 100 years. How is it not reliable? It is a gun. How are all these manufacturers making this pistol and it is not working, right? How are companies like Nighthawk Custom, Wilson Combat, Cabot Arms, Alchemy 1911s. How are all these companies that are making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 1911s still in business if the guns don't work? And then I stopped and thought, that's the issue right there. I just clumped all those companies in together as being the same gun. I see that all the time in the firearms community. When we see a gun that looks just like this malfunction, we say, hey, your 1911 sucks. What we don't say is, who's the maker of it, right? Because maybe you have a better made 1911 and it doesn't suck. But because yours was made by Llama or whoever, you guys know the companies, Llama or whatever the other company name is, that's why the gun sucks. Or what are some other issues that could go into 1911's not working correctly? Okay, and for me, when it comes to reliability, magazines are paramount in that. For me, reliability with a 1911, I think 1, lubrication, 2, ammunition, 3, magazines. Okay, and that's not, I run through those all at the same time, okay? So I'm not putting those in order precedence or, one's more important than the other. Those are all 3 simultaneously ran. So for magazine usage, I use Wilson Combat, okay? The Wilson Combat mag that I have, this is the Wilson Combat Tactical Elite magazine. It's a 500-9, just so you guys can see. I have ran personally through this one magazine almost about 2,000 rounds through this mag. 0 issues with it. And the reason why I'm doing that is just to really drive home Wilson Combat magazines are the only way to go for 1911 mags. When it comes to lubrication, you cannot run your guns dry, your 1911s dry. If this 1911 had no lubrication on it, I could pull my slide all the way to the rear and it would lock itself without me activating the slide stop. So what I mean by that, we'll just show you it's a clear gun, but you can see where it kind of gets caught right there, and that's even with it being lubed. That does not affect dwell time. It has not ever had an issue to where it's going so slow it's not being able to catch that next round, but the gun is just tight. The gun is tight, and that's awesome. Okay, I'm okay with that. If it isn't lubricated properly, I'm going to have issues, right? If I'm using maybe out of spec ammunition, you could have issues. If I'm using crap magazines, I can have issues. These Sig Sauer mags that came with the pistol, okay, I hate using them because on the last round of every single magazine, I get my casing stuck in the mag, and so the round will go off, and instead of that casing being ejected, it's stuck in the magazine. Hasn't affected, to my opinion, a serious malfunction because the magazine freely drops, and I can put in a brand new one. So not that big of a deal, but some would say that, oh, it's a malfunction with every single mag. Well, I guess it matters how you look at it. If a round goes off, I don't think that's a malfunction. If I can then load new ones in without having to do anything different to my reloading, I really don't see how that's that big of a deal. Some people would. Well, the best way to fix it for me is just use Wilson Combat mags. I no longer have that issue. Okay, so with reliability, that's how I look at it. Is it the 1911's not reliable, or is it the ammunition they're using? Is the gun properly lubricated, and what magazines are they running? The next argument that I hear is capacity. Well, 1911, and normally they're talking about the 45 ACP chambered 1911s. They only hold 7 rounds in a gun, and 7 rounds just isn't enough. And those same people that say 7 rounds is not enough for a gun to, to fight with, do not carry a gun 24/7. They do not carry a gun every time they leave their house, but they are going to tell you that 7 rounds is not enough for you to carry. That blows my mind that we even hold weight to those people. Those are also the same people that will carry only pocket guns with 5 or 6 rounds, and that's okay. It's okay for me to carry a Smith & Wesson Shield with 7 rounds in the magazine, but it's not okay for me to carry a 1911. I promise you, if you shoot a Smith & Wesson Shield decent, you'll be an expert with a 1911 at shooting because they're awesome shooting pistols. So with capacity, this is a 9mm SIG TAC Ops 1911 that I've had customized. I run 10 round Wilson Combat mags. There's 1 round that I'll have in the chamber and then 10 in the mag. I've not had a single issue. I don't feel like it's not enough gun. or not enough ammunition in the gun, especially compared to like my Glocks or my SIGs or, you know, whatever it is. I just don't feel like 11 rounds isn't enough. And obviously the situation dependent, but if it is just your normal everyday carry setup, I think having 11 rounds at a 9mm 1911, you're doing just fine. Okay, obviously have more than one magazine. Okay, but you're doing just fine. Weight. So when people bring up weight of the gun and they say, well, the 1911 is just too heavy. Too heavy for what? Because is it too heavy for you because you're wearing a Walmart belt and a sticky holster, or what? You know, what is it too heavy for? If you have a proper holster and a proper gun belt, you don't feel the gun's weight. Okay, I will use a Liberty gun belt or a Hanks leather belt. Those are normally the two belts I'm wearing all the time. Oh, well, not at the same time, obviously. But those are normally the two belts I'm wearing. If I'm teaching a course, I'll have my Liberty gun belt, instructor belt on. If I am just out and about every single day, I'm wearing my leather Hanks belt. With those belts, because those are sturdy gun belts designed to support the weight of a gun and not have them fall down, right? I also have quality holsters. So I will either, with this 1911, I'll have it in the outside the waistband holster that you see right here, and then a side guard hammer, which is this holster, and I'll have links for it in the description, but this is a side guard hammer inside the waistband holster. It's got the two loop design, which I'm a huge fan of. I have not noticed a single issue having my gun in that holster and being like, man, I can feel all the weight of the gun. Haven't noticed it once, guys. So when we talk about weight, if you have a proper holster, you have a proper belt, I don't think it's that issue. And for me, I would much rather carry a bigger gun than a smaller gun, because for me, I shoot bigger guns a whole lot more accurate than I do smaller guns. It's easier for me to fight with a bigger gun than it is for me to fight with a smaller gun. So I want to try to carry the biggest gun I can, and obviously one that I'm most comfortable with. Okay, so for me, that's how I feel about weight. When it comes to ease of use, okay, so we're going to talk about parts and maintenance. It's a lot of upkeep to keep your 1911 running. And when you guys look at Wilson Combats, Nighthawks, Dan Wessons, STI with their 2011, stuff like that, right? Same thing for those. When we look at parts and maintenance for them, you're paying more for the parts to keep up a 1911 than you're going to pay for a Glock, an H&K, or a SIG. The P320 lines, and then the H&K VP9 line. So they're striker fire pistols. It's going to be less money to upkeep those or to even keep spare parts on hand than it is for your 1911. This pistol started life as a SIG Tac Ops 1911 to 9mm. I had it completely customed out from some awesome craftsmen. We'll just let those holsters fall. The first thing I did is switch it out to XS Big Dots. Okay, very cool. The next thing that I did is had it Cerakoted OD green with black controls. And then I had him do a complete trigger job on the pistol. Okay, so complete trigger job on the pistol. This is a Series 80. So there's Series 80 and Series 70 1911s. You guys can go look up the difference on those. The biggest takeaway is a lot of people don't like Series 80 because they say that they have the worst trigger, right? That it's harder to get a good trigger out of a Series 80. Here is what a real gunsmith can do. We'll do that one more time, just so you guys can see the amount of pressure I'm putting on it. Not any at all, guys. So, it's one of the best triggers I've ever felt. I've shot Nighthawks courses where I've had students bring them. I had a lady that had a Wilson Combat at a course I was at, and I kind of shot that Wilson up against this one, and man, I'm telling you, couldn't tell a difference. So very nice, and but the maintenance of it, it's harder to change out parts for them. When we look at magazines, even this magazine I got from, I believe it was Brownells. This is the Wilson Combat mag for like $30 to $34. Whereas you can go pick up this Glock mag for $19 to $20, right? But if you know what you have to get, you can kind of buy them one at a time, okay? And if you're choosing to have the 1911 be your carry gun, or be that primary pistol, then these are things that you need to understand. And this will bring me to my last point. A lot of people that have 1911s really should probably have a Glock. In my opinion, and like I said, I've carried this gun for a year. I've taken it through courses. I've shot it a bunch. It is almost an expert class pistol with all the maintenance that you have to have for it, with understanding the pistol to keep it up and running, as opposed to a Glock. A lot of the guys that I know who have 1911s don't clean them, okay? They don't keep them lubricated. They go to the range, they shoot it a couple times, and they go and throw it in the safe. And then those are the same guys that'll say, well, I haven't had an issue out of my Rock Island da-da-da, or I haven't had an issue out of my whatever, but they only shoot maybe 20 rounds out of it at a time, okay? And when we look at parts made of, the MIM parts or tool steel parts, what are the differences? There's a big difference in it, okay? And when you look at the longevity of the pistol, you're going to be far better off having the nicer end parts than you are going to be having the lower end parts, in my personal opinion. So with the 1911, if this is something that you want to have, and you want to have a 1911 that doesn't suck, okay, let's make sure that we're treating them correctly. Let's make sure that we're properly maintaining the pistol. We're cleaning the gun, right? And when we're cleaning the pistol, we're looking for any sort of parts breakage. We're properly changing out our springs, okay? That's a big thing too. I've asked a couple 1911 owners, hey, when's the last time you changed out your recoil spring? Oh, I haven't changed out in a long time. You're beating up the gun for no reason. Recoil springs are $12, or even cheaper than that. But just, you're beating up the gun for no reason. Okay? So these are all things that go into not having a 1911 that sucks. If you are one of the individuals that you truly believe 1911s suck, think about some of the things I talked about today. The next time we see a 1911 malfunction, maybe we should ask, who's the maker of the 1911? Is the gun lubricated? Do you have, what magazine are you using in the gun, right? And what ammunition are you using? And if we ask all four of those things, and all four of those things are always the same thing, maybe 1911 suck. But I haven't seen that yet, and I don't have an issue with them. So as always, guys, stay tuned for more. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought about this video. Sarge out.